G'day guys, and thanks for stopping by. Today I just wanted to do a quick video on MGTOW and men's rights. And I know, look, there's been a lot of recent conversations on the topic and a lot of people have some fairly affirmative views on it, but I don't want to rehash any of those views. I did want to put forward my position in terms of it being that MGTOW and men's rights are completely different entities. They do not share any of the same responsibilities or lifestyles as each other. And for mine, they're completely different entities. But I did want to talk about the men's rights movement in itself and how, for mine, it appears to have stalled somewhat. And sure, I mean, in the near future, they'll probably get some reasonable wins. I don't think any of them are going to be to any level substantive, let me say. But I think they've gotten to the position in our society in terms of gynocentrism where men's voices and men's rights are simply not being heard any longer. Realistically, women have achieved such a position of authoritarianism within our westernised societies that men just simply don't seem to have any more of a voice. But I think it's evidenced in the recent past with respect to, and I think it was Tesco in the UK who pulled a marketing campaign targeting young boys for Christmas presents because one little girl felt excluded. That says it all pretty much for mine. We've also seen it here in Australia where Target have pulled GTA 5 from the shelves because of a petition from what I understand, of feminists. And so, of course, if a female raises a voice about anything, particularly, and we've seen a lot of it, we've all seen the cases of false rape allegations, cases like Brian Banks, etc. They're heard. They're immediately heard. And men just simply are not. So I think for that matter, the men's rights movement is pretty much, in my mind, stalled or reached an all-time low in terms of its effectiveness. So, with respect to MGTOW and men's rights, I think they're completely separate entities, but I think they're also inextricably linked, and in one way. And before you switch off, I know don't want you to think I'm trying to co-opt anything here, because I'm simply not. The reason why I say that is this, is that MGTOW do not need the men's rights movement in any way, shape or form. We just don't need it to exist. We're completely different entities. However, the same in reverse can't be said to be true. Men's rights definitely needs MGTOW. And the reasoning behind it is this. Feminism is run by the feminazi component, which for the most part are the minority. And we've all got our views of them. I mean, we could think of them as feminazi, lesbians and various other forms of descriptions of these people, but it's for the most part the minority speaking on behalf of the majority, and for the most part the moderate feminists, and we've all seen this as well, are saying, oh, well, yeah, but that's not true feminism. We just don't believe it, and, you know, we wash our hands of that. That has nothing to do with us. We'll take all the wins that they get, and you know, we don't agree with the rest of it. And I think we've seen this in the recent past with respect to religion. We often see the fundamentalists speaking and acting on behalf of the majority, and the moderates amongst them are simply wiping their hands of it and saying, well, that's really not what we think, so we'll just, you know, no, it's not really about our religion. And that's bullshit. And it's bullshit of feminism too. At the end of the day, they're accepting these people speaking on their behalves. But at the end of the day, it's the point is this, is that the men's rights movement will not succeed until the moderates start having a voice. Now, how are they going to have a voice? That's where MGTOW comes in. MGTOW is going to reach such a level, and we've all seen the inroads, the slight inroads that MGTOW's made with the ZetaSocietyX articles, and we've all seen that there's been a vague response from some feminists, and we know who they are, to which most of us have responded and tried to correct their path and their journey and their understanding of what MGTOW's all about, and they fail so epically at understanding it. But the mainstream media will become aware of MGTOW. These women will start understanding what MGTOW's about. They'll start understanding what it's done to men and why they're leaving the reservation, or the plantation rather. They'll start having an understanding of what MGTOW's about and why men see that the laws and that the ability for women to legally poach their resources are completely unfair. They'll start seeing that men see our rights as being completely inequitable, and they'll start questioning or changing the question from where have all the good men gone to where the fuck have all the men gone? What's going on here? And they'll start performing some level of cursory investigation into MGTOW and come to these conclusions that we have and see exactly why we're leaving things. And it's not until the point that they start seeing these very real and honest inequities in the legal system and common law marriage, etc., etc., we all know what they are. It's only until they start seeing that and start acting against the very feminazis and the feminists that have created this on their behalf, and start enabling and enacting real change on behalf of men's rights, that any real form of change will take place. It's only when women in this gynocentric society start screaming because of the effect it's having on them that there will be any level of real change. And so for mine, people like Paul Elam, who have in the recent past tried to hitch their wagon to the coattails for that very reason, to our coattails I should say, for that very reason, because of the popularity. And I know one of the brothers put out a chart with respect to, and I've forgotten who it is, I'm terribly sorry, and if I find it I'll link it, but put out a chart with respect to the popularity, or at least the search popularity of MGTOW versus Paul Elam and A Voice for Men, I believe it was. That Paul Elam's obviously tried to hitch his coattails to MGTOW in an effort to remain a viable entity, I suppose, for lack of a better term. And it's for that very reason that he will remain in the position that he is, particularly with his aggression towards MGTOW, which I really think he ought to consider, because I think given the position that he has, and given that MGTOW will ultimately be the saviour of men's rights, he might want to reconsider the animosity he's put towards MGTOW and put towards a lot of the other brothers that have really indeed tried to distance themselves from his brand of it. And I know there's a lot of difficulty in actually branding what MGTOW is, and we've all had our own little inputs into what we think it is, etc., etc., and for the most part there's not 100% agreement, but I think the marriage component needs to be out of it, and Paul needs to really take a step back and say, yeah, you know what, this is probably a fight that I don't want to have, because in the long run it's not going to work out for him. But anyway, that's just my thoughts, guys. I think, again, MGTOW and men's rights, completely separate entities and animals, but I honestly see MGTOW as being the saviour of men's rights, not through what we do necessarily so much as what the women do in response to us. And I think that's where the true power of MGTOW lies. So anyway, hit me up with some comments, guys. Take care, have a great day, and I'll catch you next time.